Hi, everybody. Here we are again for Navigating the Unknown. I'm Andrea Stern of SternRep and AskSternRep. These webinars have been pretty damn awesome, if I may say so myself. So thank you, APA LA, for bringing me on to do this with you. And everybody, you should join APA. It's fantastic and we all need it. This week, we have our co-host and LA photographer and APA LA board member, Hugh Kretschmer. Hi, Hugh.
Hi, Andrea. Such a great opportunity to be a part of this. We're big fans of yours, and these webinars have been so enlightening, and I'm grateful to be part of delivering this to our community. And I'm just very grateful to be here. And thanks to our esteemed guests for showing up today.
Yes, so we have two guests with us today. Artist rep Mary Dale from Big Leo. Hi, Mary.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you. Let me keep praying. Yes. And artist rep Tracy Terrick from Poppy Creative joining us. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. So let's begin. Welcome to you two fabulous reps who happen to also be my friends. That's pretty special. Mary is the founder and creative director of Big Leo Productions, established in 2003, an agency representing a constellation of visual creators with expertise ranging from food, interiors, lifestyle, hospitality, and beauty. Profoundly influenced by her tenure at Martha Stewart Living Omnimedia as photography editor, she has spent years cultivating a stellar roster of talent, continually evolving with clients' needs and adapting to new markets. She also enjoys splitting her time between her tiny New York City apartment and her spacious yard in Richmond, Virginia, along with her tiny Viking studio named after her tiny Viking son.
Yes.
How old is he?
7. Just turned 7.
7.
His name is Loki.
Loki.
Tiny Viking.
Tracy is the founder of Poppy Creative Agency, representing photographers, prop, and food stylists. Tracy has over 15 years experience in the photography world as an art director for big home furnishing companies. Her passion for compelling visuals and hoarding of shelter magazines keeps her fire stoked. I like that. She is also one of the co-founders of Focus on Women, an organization created to give women creatives a seat at the table. She thrives on multitasking and is currently on the road with her husband and 2 Aussies looking for their next adventure. So hi to both of you. So happy you're here. And one thing I'm getting a lot on AskSternRep, the more I say something about reps, the more questions and the more conversations. It's been such a hot topic. So that is why I'm so happy to have both of you here with us today, as we're gonna get into this and just tell people how it is. And I also have to share that we are recent friends. When COVID started, I was invited to join these two on a weekly Zoom support group, is what I will call it. And to have support when feeling quite vulnerable about our world meant the world to me. So I just had to share what everybody is getting to witness today.
Thank you.
So our topics for today's chat is going to be finding a rep, when to get a rep, what reps do, and the biggest myths about reps, right? After we will touch on all of these, we might get to, hopefully, some shared secrets about usage rates and day rates. Maybe you guys will share a little bit with us what people are making, a little bit, ranges if you can. And Hugh and I will be staying afterwards for a wrap up. And attendees, you are welcome to stay with us and chat. I wish you could chat with us. Okay, you could send chats. So Hugh, you want to start us off with our first question? We have so many questions.
And, yes. It's from Sophia. What's the best way to find a rep that fits your style, especially if it's niche? I work in the outdoor industry.
What do you guys think? What's the best way to find a rep?
I don't know, Tracy, I think we both have, I'd love to clarify if that's outdoor as in outdoor furniture, or is it outdoor sports? But I would do your research. You know, you really want to find a rep that has experience in that genre, because a rep who has established relationships with those types of clients is the kind of person you want to be with. If someone is starting from, you know, the ground up, building a roster of clients for you, it's going to be more challenging. So I would say do your research, make sure you're aligning yourself with someone who has experience in that field. And yeah, that's what I would suggest.
How would they see that or know that? Like on your site or my site or Tracy's site?
I think, I mean, there's tons of source books out there for artists, and likewise, I think there's source books out there for, you know, reps. And if you go on their sites and just seeing the kind of clients that you want to work with, if you're seeing the type of work that you do and you're seeing the type of client with, that's a good sign. That's the kind of person you probably want to reach out to.
Right. So look at our client list on our sites, and also look at our LinkedIn and our Instagram, I think, are good ways to get a better sense of what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely believe in research and looking up and even talking to other outdoor and look at other outdoor photographers who reps them. What does their rep situation look like? Is it all outdoor reps, outdoor photographers, or are they repped kind of in a mishmash of other photographers? Check out what other people are doing and talk to people in the industry, producers. This morning I got a great email from a producer, thank you, who gave me some available photographers to look at. So the more referral, the warmer instead of the colder it can be, the better, I would say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And one more thing is to ask clients. Go to your top clients, say, can I ask you, what reps are you in contact with regularly?
Yeah, that's a really good way, because then you've already got someone who's formed a relationship with people you're interested in working with.
Yeah. So how do photographers find who you rep? How did you find the photographers that you rep? Tell us any.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, how did you find?
Good question.
Well, when I started my agency, I actually was still doing art directing and producing. So, and I decided to keep producing so that I could meet talent on set. Because I knew what client I wanted, and that's who I was working for. And I wanted to see who they were hiring, and who was repped and who wasn't. So that's kind of how I started.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah, when I was working in magazines, I feel like that was sort of my first, you know, test of repping. I found myself advocating for artists within the magazine. And so it sort of became a natural segue into repping. And it started with people I had formed relationships with, the magazine, people we hired. And then we expanded a little further out from, you know, that shelter and food arena that we were in, and I didn't really like it. So over the years, we've honed back into food and interiors and beauty, because I think beauty, especially in terms of product and still life, is very akin to shooting food. I think it's very similar. The product, the, you know, cosmetic smears. So we expanded out to there as well. But yeah, I found people that I worked with in the magazine.
All right.
And started there.
I think for me, it's been a lot of referrals, and I do some temp repping, and I've met a couple photographers that way, and then I get to know them. It's kind of like we're dating for a little bit. It's a fantastic way to see if you're a good team. All right. So how should they go about finding a rep? We kind of said that. One list I really like is workbook.com. I feel like it's an easy way to really look us up. We have Matthew. I'm just going to use first names from everybody. How is the best way to reach out to a rep and rep that is best suited for you? What do you guys think? How do you want to hear from people?
I mean, I think like anything else, emails are easy because you can attach work to it. You can attach your site to it, because what's going to be most important initially is the work, you know, what the work looks like and if it's a fit. And then I think a follow-up call and having a conversation, because especially now, I think having personalities that really gel together is really, really important. That relationship and the trust and the communication is something that you kind of want to get a sense of from the get-go. So I think sharing the work first and then following up
When you say follow up, do you want them to call you?
Well, I hope that everyone responds to emails that they get from any artist, you know, whether it's right or a good fit or not. But we certainly try to respond to everybody. But I would say the follow-up typically comes from us first, because we'll respond if the work is right. And if the work is right, but we're not in a position to rep, we tell people to keep in touch with us, keep sending us new work. If we're wanting a call, I think it's usually a good sign that we're interested.
But
you
to be
know,
clear, you're wanting the call. You don't want people.
it's just easier. We're definitely pretty inundated on the phone, despite being, you know, remote and everything. I think that the emails are just easier for us to really look at the work and dig in first to see if it's a fit. But yeah, typically we would try to set up a call.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. I really try to answer every email, whether or not I'm interested. And then again, the follow-up is me asking for either something, you know, something in particular that I want to see from them, or setting up time to have a chat.
Right.
Yeah.
But I wanted to emphasize my perspective that it is a relationship. It's like a marriage, and courting is really important. And I think, you know, it's like two dogs sniffing around one another for a while to make sure that this relationship is going to be expansive and encouraging and supportive. Because if you don't get along with your rep, or things don't align, it can be a nightmare. So I suggest.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely agree.
There is one question that came in that might be to this point. At what point does it make sense for a photographer to start looking for a rep?
That's a good question. I mean, I think it varies because, you know, as Tracy has on her roster, artists to watch, you know, people who are more emerging, and then you've got people who are established who need the help because they are either, you want everybody to be super booked and so booked that you need someone to help you with scheduling and everything else. But, you know, it really depends on where you are in your career and where the work is, because if we feel like you're commercially viable, even if you're just starting out, then we have a place for you. And everyone is always looking for new talent, definitely clients. So yeah, I think it's when the work is there, really.
Yeah,
And I often say if reps aren't responding, and if you don't feel you're ready and you're not getting the response that you want from people, go to a consultant. Let a consultant really help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ted asks, what are the best ways to generate interest from a rep? One more thought I had on that is contests. When I see a bunch of awards on their website, I'm like, oh, I take it a little more, you know, it's something to see.
Yeah. I would,
Yeah, for sure.
So to get our interest, I also have to suggest Instagram, being very active on Instagram. I look at the top and I see when's the last, have they not posted for weeks? That's not good. Are they doing Insta stories? Are they active? You don't have to have a lot of followers. I need to know you're active.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And also the constantly creating, the constantly shooting, whether you have a client or not. I love to see how artists think creatively outside of a commissioned, you know, job. I think it's really exciting to see test work and where their head is with work like that, and how they collaborate with, you know, production outside of commissioned production. If they're pulling in a stylist and doing a real test, I love that. I love creative work.
Me too. And it shows a forward thinking, like if there's some motion in there, it shows that you're able to grow. Like Hugh, you said expansive. I love that. Like that's so important to us too. We want to know we can keep making you better and better and keep growing with you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we need those tools, right? So the more you're creating, the more tools we have in our little toolbox to sell you, because that's really what you want us to be doing.
Yeah, I think it's important in the outreach to the rep to make sure you're including multiple ways of, you know, like not just your website link. Maybe you have another link of new stuff or something that we wouldn't dive down and find. So
Or personal.
Yeah, I like when people really kind of spell it out, like here, and also say like, hey, this is why I think I'm a perfect fit for you, or this is what I like about your agency, and I think, I'd be good. I
Yeah.
I like, I
Yes.
like people who have that kind of confidence.
It's that thing of mass emails. I think it turns off everybody. So try to make it less mass email to us as well.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. You want to know someone's looked at your roster. They know who you rep. They know kind of the
Right.
breadth of talent you have and where they might fit in, or where they really feel like they'd fit in.
Yeah.
Here's a question from Molly. I'm not ready for a rep yet, but any tips on how to appeal to a rep? I mean, we've covered some of this, but I also say begin your relationship now.
Yes.
DM me on Instagram. Say hello. Introduce, kind of
Yeah.
warm up the relationship.
Right. Friend me on LinkedIn. Like,
Yeah.
do some of that outreach that gets the rep sort of like, oh, who is this? Why are they out?
Agreed. Now, and I think it is important. I love that someone is, self-aware enough to say, I'm not ready for a rep yet, but I'd like to keep in touch, because we really want the relationship to be strong from the get-go. And if you're not sure you want one, you might be walking in with some trepidation that carries through in the relationship. So we want you to be just as ready as we are to join a roster.
I have to say, for me, LinkedIn is not where I want photographers to contact me. I see, for me, LinkedIn is more my outreach to get clients. I don't see why a photographer, it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm more, if you want to talk to me, email and then Instagram.
Yeah, I don't mind. I like LinkedIn.
All right. It's our first disagreement, everybody.
It isn't so.
Okay, next question is Edward. When you're checking a photographer's Instagram, do you scroll down all the way, or are you interested in their latest work? I say latest work. Do you guys look down on Instagram?
Yeah, I mean, I like to see the breadth of someone's work. I mean, I think if it's a professional feed, I certainly look all the way down. Quite frankly, even if it's a personal feed, just to see, you get to know who they are, what their interests are. So I'll scroll. I'll dive deep.
You're saying no?
I don't know. I think I only dive deep if I like what I see in the top part, and then I'll keep going.
That's
fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. That's true.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Dana asks, is there such a thing as a rep who works with photographers who mainly wants editorial work? Or is there just not enough money in that?
That is a good question. I think editorial is just, it's just not as voluminous, however how you say that. There's just not enough of it anymore. I mean, I don't think it ever had the biggest budgets, but it was certainly the most creative work you could do. So we love editorial still when it's out there for us. But a lot of times, like I said, it is the most creative work you can do. I would say no one would rep you probably exclusively for editorial. They're going to want to rep you for everything. But yeah, for all the editorial that's out there, I certainly still value it very highly.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think I wouldn't just rep someone based only on editorial, but we do value editorial work. Especially, I think it's a great way to grow your portfolio. And a lot of times we won't even get involved, but we encourage them to do it just to get their name out there.
Yeah, that's the relationship I have with my agent, is that she doesn't touch editorial work, but she encourages it, and then we use it to gain ad clients. So
right,
it's just the way. I want her to concentrate on the advertising. I don't want her to concentrate on editorial.
Right.
I can do that.
I have a question though. I've always considered fashion also editorial, and I see reps do focus on fashion. It's a world I'm not involved in. So isn't editorial the same as fashion, or am I?
No, I consider editorial magazines. I mean, in the food realm, with Tracy and I, it would be the Bon Appetits and the Real Simples and magazines like that, since we both represent food and interiors photographers. Martha Stewart. Yeah, so that is all editorial to me.
Same.
Okay. Do you have ways that work for you to make you respond to photographers or not? That was my own question, and I'm not sure what I'm asking. So,
What are you asking?
Right. When sometimes I get emails and I really respond, and I'm like, wow, that must have been a really good email that I'm truly responding. Like, let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then others, I don't. I just, I'm not, that's not for me. Great. So there is a way, a style to email someone, I think, to be a little more vulnerable,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest.
Can
I
I
think, at least for me, an honest response.
Right.
I think
Are you saying their email
Yeah.
makes you okay?
Yeah.
What were we gonna say, Tracy?
I was gonna say for me, when I read that question, or I thought, spell my name right. Like, if you don't
Yes.
spell my name right, I'm not answering your email.
Yeah.
Like, there's those little pet peeves, right? Of like, oh, take the time, say the right thing, like put it
Last email thing. Don't make it a last email.
right.
Yeah. Well, I often get with the autofill stuff. Hi, Big. I'm like,
Oh,
hi, my name is Mary. It's Big Leo, but obviously the Big made its way into the
Yeah.
first name column, so it's like, hi, Big.
that's
It's
funny.
not make or break, but you notice those things,
I could tell Hugh has a question. Go, Hugh.
No, not a question, but a comment. My experience is you don't need to hammer over the head that you're looking for an agent. There's a reason. They know that you are approaching them for that reason. There's no reason to say it. When I do my outreach to clients, I just say, this is what I'm working on. Have a great day. And then I get email back from them. If I'm pushing it too much, I get nothing. It's crickets. So I hope that's clear.
That is so clear. I think any salesy is not.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Salesy.
No.
True. And also to your point about, the research that we were talking about and knowing who you're reaching out to. When I get someone who's doing really high fashion, I can love the work, but it's not the world that I'm in, and it's not someone that I am likely to take on because it's just not the type of work we do. So if they're keeping in touch with me to show the work, I love that. But reaching out with kind of a strong sell to rep them, I'm like, that's just not what we do. You know, so certain types of work, or somebody who came to me, not you, Andrea, because you have car people, but I don't represent car photographers. And so, and it's not that I have no interest in it, it's just not what we do. And, they could spend their resources elsewhere.
This is a sideline question to that, but do you guys ever recommend photographers you see to other reps?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll definitely say, you should try reaching out to so-and-so. And if I really think it's a good fit, I will reach out to the agency too and say, this person just contacted me. I've done that quite a bit with illustrators. Reached out to a friend of mine who has an illustration agency it's amazing. So I'll reach out to her and say, and she's honest with me if that person isn't right. So then I can cushion that blow before they even reach out to the agent and get that rejection. But yeah.
I have not done that much. Now that I'm friends with you two, I will if I see them more towards what you guys do. But I haven't in the past. Sorry.
Okay. I think I've always tried to be in touch with other reps throughout my entire career because I was on the other side for so long. I was like, well, now that I'm a rep, I'm not going to stop talking to you because you're a rep too. So I think I've always tried to be in touch with other reps.
I have some other rep friends, but I really don't meet other reps much. So I appreciate you both very much.
Well, welcome.
So Jeffrey asks, is it okay to send an agent printed promo pieces if you do it by hand with a personalized note?
Yeah, I love printed pieces.
Yeah, the printed pieces for sure. You mean hand delivering it? Yeah, why not?
Oh, I think they're, if you're making it by hand.
Yeah, do it by hand.
Oh, making it by hand. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love creative printed pieces are, we don't get enough of them anymore. And I know, there's a whole other environmental side to that for me, but yeah, I definitely make it count. You might as well make it count. It's costly and it's time consuming. So
yeah, I'm also gonna make a suggestion to everyone. This is what works for me. Personalized thank you cards are huge. I get thank you emails for sending them my thank you cards, believe it or not.
yeah.
Great
Yeah, and
idea.
also, you know, don't be discouraged if you don't hear anything back, because we get this even on the rep side. We're sending promos out for you guys, and you know, we won't hear anything back, and some of them are really robust and beautifully designed. Some of them are, you know, have treats in them, and you know, you'll meet someone a year later and they're like, oh man, last year when you sent that box, it was amazing. And you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know you got it or cared. But they notice.
It's pretty normal
We
that we're not
notice.
gonna hear back.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't hear back from us. It's nothing personal most of the time.
Agreed. Let's see, where am I? My questions. Hugh, do you have any questions you want to ask?
Well, that's the next one on the list. Any specific types of photographers you are looking for? Is there a specific type you always have your eyes open for? I think that was your question, Andrea.
I think I might have taken it from one of my AskSternRep people. I'm so sorry without using your name. So for me, I'm always open to this like lifestyle with a fashion edge to it, especially if cars as well. I've always been very drawn to the three of those together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm obviously interior, food, lifestyle in that kind of really open, blown out light type of way. I mean, you can look at our site and see what kind of brand appeals to us.
So
Yeah.
is that your sensibility that I'm just hearing, or is that what is selling right now? Did you understand what I'm asking?
Yeah,
I think it's a little of both, don't you, Tracy? Because we have very similar styles in our photographers.
Yeah, I think it's both. And I think it's knowing, I just have certain clients that are pretty regular that I know what they're looking for still, so I kind of keep on top of that. And, but it also, 10 years in, it still really hasn't changed that look that we like.
Yeah. It's pretty timeless. I definitely look for that in work. Food, same as Tracy, food, interiors, and lifestyle. Especially if you're an interior shooter, if you want to go beyond catalog and real product shooting, you got to have lifestyle in there, because any heroic ad, even say for Crate and Barrel or a catalog that you want to shoot for, the advertising is really going to be lifestyle driven most of the time. So that's what I look for. Stuff that, where the lifestyle melds together, the food and the interiors.
Right.
Entertaining, hospitality. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we should also probably say motion too. I mean, right. All of us, especially I'd say within the last 3 years, I've really made that
Me too.
Motion is helpful. I mean, we've got so many hybrid shoots going on now, so the motion is definitely a big bonus.
Right. And not every photographer does it, so it makes you more, I don't know, we need you more. We're really looking for that. And to me, it's also cinemagraphs and GIFs and stop motion, any type of motion. It's not just video. Yeah.
For sure.
You know what comes up a lot is what type of rep agency? It seems like some reps have competing similar photographers, where I tried not to do that, but some reps, that is their branding. How does a photographer know which is better? Like, should they go with a company that has all the same type?
I still think that just depends on the relationships that the rep has, because, one of the ways we've always looked at our roster as, I always get this mixed up, Venn diagram or concentric circles. I think it's a Venn diagram where, where people cross is where their genre is similar, but they still have their own styles in the outer circle. So anywhere people overlap, it's really based on the genre they're shooting, but the style they have should be singular, should be their own.
And stand out a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard some photographers are like, it's great because this other photographer, they get a lot of work, and then if they can't do it, I'm there. It's a way to move up if you're not
for sure
established.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want, if someone's calling your agency for someone, if you have a solution for them, they're prone to come back, versus if they have to go elsewhere for that solution, if someone isn't available. So
I don't know if there's a clear-cut answer to this question, because it
kind of depends on you. It depends on the artist, I feel.
It does. It does. Some people want to be the only food photographer on a roster. Some people want to be among people, like I said, who are working with the clients they want to work with, and they know, wow, this agency definitely has an established relationship with the very clients I'm trying to get in with.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think it depends on you.
Well, I'm on the other side of that. So, my perspective is that if an agent has too many of a similar genre, it becomes a competition between the photographers within that agency, and that sometimes it's hard to take.
I know. I
Yeah.
was just going to say, I could see from an artist's perspective that being a very difficult thing. Reality is you're competing with those photographers anyway. So there's that perspective. However, I understand when it's hard. I think the best thing we can do as agents is be really transparent when those things happen. And we've only had it happen a couple of times when a few people have been bidding on the same thing. And when you're 2 of the 3 bids in a triple bid, I mean, it's kind of advantageous. But
Yes.
but yeah, I could see why that would. Mm-hmm.
Car shooters, and I think it's fantastic because we can help each other. We're not going to, be the lowest bid against each other.
Right.
It's a great way to bid, triple bid if you have to.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
We have a question from Jean, if I'm saying it right. Construct photo. For the photographers you've seen get represented, what are some typical milestones that they've achieved before finding representation? There's something you guys look for that you want them to have experienced already?
I mean, I guess it definitely helps for a photographer to have managed a client set, because it's a whole different thing, being on set with a full production and being able to handle that sort of communication and pressure. But I think it varies. I think it varies.
In what way varies?
Well, because I've had people that didn't have a whole lot of experience that definitely had a hunger that I could read. I could really feel that they were going in a good direction and that they took direction very well, listened to advice very well, and completely just emerged as huge photographers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could answer that, but I think we got our answer. Aside from their current portfolio, what are other things you look at in a good photographer you want to represent? I think we kind of answered that too. Do you guys? Anything else?
So just relevance, again, same thing, really good work, relevant to what we do, and that you want us to be passionate about what you're shooting. So I think that's another good reason to make sure the roster you're looking at carries the kind of work that you're interested in, because it shows that we have a passion for it as well. If it's something that's so disparate from what we do, it might show that we don't have a passion for it, and you certainly don't want that.
Well, isn't it also personality too? How do
I was going to say,
yeah.
Like you need to have, or at least for me and our roster, I really, like you said before, here, it's a relationship. So I look for good communicators.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know who are going to respond when I want them to respond, and we have a connection somehow beyond the work. Yeah, it's a personality thing too, for sure.
Their enthusiasm and, how much are they, there to support and be involved and creating new work and,
Right. Where's their passion? What is their passion? And what else are they doing on the side? And what kind of marketing have they already done on their own?
I have a side question on this is, what about today? Because we are in this weird place in our world right now as far as diversity and as far as work from home, who's going to be shooting, who's not going to be shooting. I mean, that totally affects right now how we're looking for people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. It does. Because, right now we're trying to nurture, the relationships that we have on our current rosters, making sure that everybody is safe, healthy, sane, because they're not working. It's, artists, I understand when they're not creating, it's really hard. And now more than ever, I think whatever we can be doing from home and remotely is really important for our mental health as well.
Mm-hmm.
But if a photographer came to me and was like, look, I work from home and this is my portfolio, I'd be a little more like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, well, I think showing the resources that you have right now is super important. I mean, everyone's now sending out, the Creighton Place stuff, what they can do at home and with whom. Some people have created pods. One of our amazing prop stylists created an image makers group up in Hudson Valley, and it's been so well received because there are people up there that are north of New York City who haven't been traveling, and they can create together. So that's been really, really great. But showing what you're capable of right now,
That's
the
it.
resources you have, is super important.
There's a question, if we can circle back to Instagram from our audience. Given the current social, political, and pandemic climate, what is the best way to promote via social while still being respectful and mindful of what is going on right now? Is the voice of a 40-something white lifestyle photographer the voice that should be heard right now? And if not, how would we post while still being mindful of the climate?
I think we're back to posting, and we're back to email promos, and we're back. I mean, people at work is starting and people are bidding, so we have to be back into it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I really love that question, because I think in the beginning, before all of the social, issues that we're dealing with, just in the shutdown and from COVID, it was really hard to figure out what the tone should be, like what the outreach should be and what the tone should be, because we didn't want to be inappropriate, opportunistic, some words that I, heard thrown out there. We want to be sensitive, and I want to promote Black voices, so it's really important to temper that, but it's not, you still have a business to promote. So we still have to post, the images we have, but if you have opportunities to promote those voices, do it,
Yeah.
But you do have to promote your work as well. So.
And with a sensitivity,
Yes.
Comment on it, ask how we're doing. Hopefully we're all safe. And,
Right.
I think it comes up a lot in very simple words, like what a weird time, just something to relate.
Right.
And you don't have to go overboard or,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, we've posted some hospitality images that nobody's traveling right now, and nobody's on a yacht or whatever. So it's, calling out the summer we're dreaming of in our head, or, whatever the case may be, but being sensitive to how you're posting things that, we're not all doing right now.
Right.
Traveling and being on the beaches, hopefully.
Oh boy. Okay. That's such a big topic.
It is.
Another question from Construct Photo is, what makes a photographer more marketable in interiors photography? Versatility to shoot multiple styles, contemporary, traditional, mid-century, etc., or having a single aesthetic geared toward a single style of design? That's a great question. I want to hear your answers.
Well, I think, Tracy, both of us will have a good answer. So you go first.
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear what Mary says. But I think I like when my interior shooters can shoot all styles of interior. I think it just makes you more well versed and more marketable, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know.
The well-versed.
Yeah, I like them well versed.
Okay.
Yeah, because for me, interior shooting is really about lighting, how you manipulate light, how you can light an entire room. So the style of the furniture in that room is, consequent to your client or whoever you're shooting for, to me. So I'm the same. I like a diverse set of, content, but if you can light those rooms across all of those styles, that's what's gonna show.
And it makes you more available for different clients.
Yeah, for sure.
And you're also not pigeonholing yourself too.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, if you're okay with just shooting for that one particular style and you think there's
Yeah.
I'm sure, but I think it's better to have more.
I mean,
because then you have to, well, go ahead.
I'm just gonna say this is a really big topic, and we could even have a whole show on it. Mary, what were you gonna say?
Just that, then you have to temper your expectations with the number of clients out there that do that type of work. So if it's only a handful of clients, that's what you got.
Yeah.
And if you're more diverse, then you can go after more people.
We have another question for you two, and from Eddie. Do you as a rep look at what gear your photographers are using? Does this affect whether or not you sign them? And is there an industry standard? What gear?
Talking about photo gear?
Yeah,
Yeah.
No.
I don't think so. I mean, I think that if you're executing your images with the utmost professionalism and it's well lit and you can replicate that again and again and again for any client on demand, then you've mastered your tools. So I think your tools are your tools. The only time it would matter is if you are having to do something really, really high resolution that's going on a billboard and you're shooting with something that doesn't accommodate that. You have to be able to pivot to gear that can accommodate that kind of usage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I had some of the oldest equipment known to man, and I just show up with it, and it's like, what is that? You know, they have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't think equipment really is important.
Yeah. As long as you can get the byproduct.
That's right.
You know, right. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Any red flags that most likely have you not rep a photographer?
That's a good question.
For me, I would say inactivity of any kind. And if they don't understand production yet, that's scary for my own reputation. Like if you don't know what a digitech is,
Yeah.
I'm risking my own, you know.
Right. Yeah, I think Mary said that earlier. If you haven't done
Production.
produced shoot, that would be a red flag for me for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And it would be interesting too, if it's someone who's been repped before. If we're talking about someone who's never been repped, then yeah, it's that, the experience of being on set. But one of the things I always try to look to is, do you have regular clients? Because if you're not being rebooked, I'd love to know why.
That's good.
Is it a personality thing, or, it's important that you've got established relationships and people know that they can rely on you and that you get booked again and again.
It's nice when we know the client and we can ask the client.
Yeah.
Has everything gone well? Yeah.
Right.
There's a question related to this that came in. Can you guys share a work relationship experience that didn't go well, if you have any?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure we all have at least one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Share them or not is
I
something
know.
else.
Well, I mean, it's easy to share with, perfect anonymity, but I was shocked that I actually had an artist fired from a job. I had never had that happen before, and it was a big one. 18 days and a weekend. I got the call on a Friday, and it was probably the most upset and angry I've ever been. I don't yell, and I don't fight with my artists. We are very civil, and we talk through any issues we have, but that was a real wow. And because other artists on our roster shoot with that client, I had to fly out and make sure that I was going to lose that client for everybody else. So that actually brings me to something we talked about before, about the artist reps us too. When they're out in the world, they are a representation of the roster, of our reputation. And that was a situation that was rough. That was rough. So that's mine. I just had no names and no client names, but that was really hard.
I think for me too, some photographers have not spoken to me kindly. That's not okay with me. That sucks my energy dry. I'm not going to be a good rep to someone who doesn't treat me right.
Right.
So that's
totally fair. Yeah. Because, we don't work for you guys, we work with you. And the way I see it is, you don't have to have a rep. And if you're not going to value a rep, then don't get a rep. But if you have one, you should value the relationship you have. There's no need for disrespect if you're communicating well, none of that will happen. But yeah, there's no reason to devalue what we do. There's so much that we do that's unpaid on your behalf.
And that you don't know about.
Yeah, that you don't know about. And to add insult to injury by being not nice, you can be frustrated. We're all frustrated when work doesn't come in, but yeah, that's a tough one for me too.
I think some people just didn't know. That's just who they are. They don't even think of it like, I'm disrespecting you. which
Yeah.
alarms me too. If they're going to talk to me that way, they're going to talk to someone else that way on the set.
Yeah.
And there's problems.
Although it is worse when they're, you know, so sweet on set and then you're like, ah.
None of it's okay.
No, it's not.
What is your advice for them? For anyone looking for a rep, how would you do it? Like, yeah, if you were looking for a rep, if you were one of the photographers, I used to be a photographer, how would you do it now? Can we advise them in any way that we would do?
I think that I would make sure, if I was going to go look for a rep right now, I would make sure that I just had all of my ducks in a row, that I had a really well edited, to my best ability, a well edited book with an openness to accept, you know, critique. And yeah, that I just was being consequent about who I was reaching out to, that I was doing my research, used to be an actor. So I used to, when I was looking for agents, would make sure that I was going to people who were doing the kind of work that I wanted. So I think doing your research and having your tools together, your toolkit nice and tidy. Here's my book, here's my work, here's my site, having your branding kind of in a good place. Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me too, because I'm very personal and I love people and I want, you know, I connect with people. So that's my thing. Probably all of our things, but I would do it that way. Warm up to us. If I go to an event, or if we are at events, you go meet reps. You introduce yourself. Yeah. Back in the day when there were events.
Yes.
And then use Instagram, DM, like say hello, talk about this webinar. If you're talking to us, say something that relates to us. Warm up the relationship.
Yeah. Network.
Absolutely.
Networking.
Network. And even this, you know, if we have time to do something like this, you get to know, you know, one another. I think being able to show who you are, people are going to see your work on your site, but finding a way to show people also who you are, how you approach your work, I think is valuable too, because they want to see who you are on set.
Right.
So does that, are you suggesting behind the scenes then?
It could be, yeah, it could be behind the scenes. It could be, yeah, I mean, I love when people have behind the scenes videos of them on set and, you know, interspersed with their work.
Right. Like real people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Sign somebody.
Ah.
So I like, guys mentioned that they're representing me as well as themselves, and I do my due diligence and I check, you know, I ask for references sometimes from them, or who are their techs and who are they work, you know, and like you said, who are their clients, and if I know their client, I'll call. But I do really try to do a test shoot, you know, even if it means I have to put it together myself and bring a stylist and spend a day with them just to see what it's like.
That's
how they
great.
collaborate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just going to say something. What was it? I can't listen and remember what I'm about to say.
That means you're really listening.
True. Do you guys feel like right now is a good time for photographers to look for reps? I'm getting that question a lot. Like, should I be looking right now?
Well, people certainly have time, more time than they've had in the past, I think, to get to know you, to get to know your work. So I think it depends on the rep that you reach out to. I think some people, I've definitely seen a few agencies announce new artists just this week. So.
Yeah, true. Hugh, you're shaking your head.
I just think there's no bad time to reach out, but do it, you know, respectfully and, you know, not too much of a hard sell. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think right now is a great time to do it because we all are like taken aback by everything. We have time to focus on our business in a whole new way, so we get to see, okay, what do I need more of? What?
Right.
Where?
Yeah.
Structure myself. We're all looking at that right now.
Yeah, I kind of would say, you know, don't assume that we're not interested. Like, don't come into it thinking, oh, they don't really have everybody that matches me, but there's something about her or the style of their site that I really like. Then just go for it. because you just don't know, I think. You know,
Yeah.
I've signed an outdoor shooter recently in January who's nothing like she doesn't shoot interiors, she doesn't shoot product, she shoots beautiful outdoor lifestyle photography. And there was something about her, and I knew of a client, oddly, that was the perfect match, and it just all synced.
Mm.
But you would never know, you know, she wouldn't have known that if she hadn't reached out and triggered it. You know, sometimes it triggers something in you when you see something new.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
the question that came in, should you only look locally for a rep? Example, I live in having a hard time finding local reps. Should I look elsewhere? New York, LA, etc.
I have a double answer to that.
Oh, you go.
If um, if your work is more small town, I do everything, then yes, get a local rep. But if you want national work and your look is more precise and focused with a style that's usually not right for every type of job, then I think you need a national rep, and they could be anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I concur. I think your first part to that is not something I thought of, but that's a very good point. If you're someone who, you know, is getting a lot of local work, and because you're you know, stretching every which way, yeah, you probably want someone local.
Usually those people don't have a strong style. I think they kind of do everything, and that's for small cities.
Right.
That can work, especially right now.
Right.
Because local is so important.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
But I do think that there used to be East Coast reps, West Coast reps.
Right.
Yeah. And
No more.
it doesn't work anymore because we have, first of all, we travel so much to all of these agencies nationwide, and we are so digitally connected, you know, so we are now, and also you'll have a client that you work with who's spread among all these agencies that are everywhere. You know, they have an agency in LA and they have an agency in New York or Chicago. We've had that happen a few times where a client we work with works with a New York and a Chicago agency. So we've been to both places for the same client.
We're almost like near 1 o'clock and I'm halfway through.
Easy.
What do we do? I mean, we've covered one topic.
Well, should we start with when do you get a rep? Should we talk about that?
Let's just keep going and try to cover it all. When do you know if you're ready to have a rep? When is too early to have a rep? I guess we actually answered that.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you need to be getting jobs before you can get a rep? There's a catch-22 issue. How do I get a rep with no jobs?
Right.
I definitely think that depends, because Tracy has an emerging division, and I've certainly not made that a deterrent. Again, if I think the work is commercially viable and we have something to work with, and we have established relationships with clients, the goal would be to introduce clients to new photographers, and I don't think it's a deterrent. There are some agencies that'll do that. They're like, you have to be billing X amount of dollars, and otherwise I'm not signing you, but I don't think anyone here works that way.
No.
Yeah, some reps do, but okay, not us. Brittany asks, do reps only sign artists who are making a certain amount of income on their own?
Some do.
Yeah.
Some do, but
some do.
Not
us. I think it's mainly about your willingness to, again, if you have something that we can work with that we definitely deem as commercially viable, and you're willing to participate in some of our costs, because I don't know if that comes up later, but there's costs that we incur by doing some of this marketing and that a lot of the artists pay in. And if you're willing to do that and we think you have something, I don't think you have to be bringing in top dollar jobs yet.
But sure, it will help if you are.
It does help. It does.
How can you best catch our eye? I think we kind of got that. Ryan, I am not overwhelmed with work, but my work is strong. Can rep help me expand in my niche? I'm going to just say yes.
Absolutely.
True?
Yeah.
True.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you recommend consultants? Yes. Yes.
I'm not, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, zooming through these questions.
Good.
I've always said that when you're, oh yeah, I wrote this. I've always said when you are good enough, reps will find you. Do you agree? I thought I wrote that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we definitely will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I say, or sometimes a rep is not good for you. If you don't yet know where you're going and your style, don't listen to someone else. A rep might come in and say, the hot trend right now is this, so do it this way.
Right. But that's why the consultant works, right?
Right.
Yeah. Help you hone in on the brand.
Don't go too soon to a rep before you're.
Right.
I can comment on that. I mean, for me, it's about, when I didn't have a rep for a period of time, I was able to navigate through a job, doing the invoicing, doing the estimating, finding my crew, all that on top of, promoting myself. So that experience led me into this relationship that I have now. And now it's, I've got that much more experience to offer to the group and to my agent. So I think getting to know those chops, experiencing those skills is very, very important.
Yeah.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I like that one. Kimberly, are the only photographers to get work and hired ones who have reps? Ooh. That might be our biggest question of the afternoon.
Yeah, I think that also depends. I don't think every single photographer who gets commercial work has to have a rep, but I do know that when an ad agency art producer is coming to you looking for work, if you're on a roster with a rep that they know and trust and have a relationship with, they don't have any doubt about your ability to come to set and do your job professionally. If you have a relationship with someone, I mean, I think that's different, but I think that, I think that agencies and clients tend to look at someone on a roster as someone who has at least been preliminarily vetted to some degree.
Yeah.
True.
I think definitely it used to be pretty absolute. Yeah, you better have a rep. But nowadays, a lot of photographers are not being repped because social media, they do themselves. I don't think they need us the way they used to need us.
They need us in different ways, though. We were talking about this, right?
Yeah.
It's a whole different support system.
Right. So I think it's extremely helpful and it will give that extra push. But also if it's client direct, they might not even deal with reps really. They don't really know reps. So it kind of depends what work you do, what work you want to do.
Yeah. Well, with some of the client direct stuff, and to your point earlier with the local stuff, it is hard when you bring in a rep. You're afraid the rep's going to scare off the work. I've had this experience with, some of the smaller clients. Our job is to come in to protect you, to make sure you're getting, your value. And some of these clients will, if they're accustomed to working with photographers directly, they'll push back. And if we're okay with any jobs you want to take, if we have communication, if you're like, this has been my bread and butter, I'd rather deal with this myself, but you have to communicate, because there's nothing worse for a relationship if you undermine your rep by doing something that you're not communicating about. It's just stinky.
I know some clients prefer it because if there's a problem on set, they don't want to talk to the photographer directly. They don't want to disrupt the shoot.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a security for the clients to have someone to talk to, and then we can talk to the photographer.
Yeah. And we're the buffer for the photographer as well. Not having to talk about money and budget when you're trying to create is really, really helpful, because we get to push back. We get to be bad cop while you're creating.
This leads us into what we do now. So our third out of fourth topic. Are you guys at 1:00? Are you okay staying another 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
We're going to jump through this and get these 4 topics. Lauren asks, I'd love your thoughts on what a good rep and photographer collaboration is like. What should each bring to the table? Whoa.
Great question.
Yeah, we could spend another hour on that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, respect, communication. And we cannot hammer communication hard enough.
Right.
Communication is so important, because you want to talk about what's working, If we don't know something isn't working, we're not mind readers. So we need to know how you're feeling, what your goals are. So I think communication is really key. Respect for sure.
And it gets us, it kind of lights our flame. The more we hear from you, the more it keeps us on our, you know, we are human.
Right.
Absolutely.
I have a question related to this. Do you guys get together with all your photographers at one time and talk about the business? This is something that we've been doing since the crisis, getting together with all the photographers and the agent together on a Zoom call. Do you do that at all?
I would say we definitely did during the pandemic. We had a town hall, which I encourage. I think it's important for, I think, the people on your roster to be able to talk to one another. I know some people, I don't know anybody who's against that, but I certainly encourage it. And pre all of this, we tried to have as many social events as we could. We love to get our artists together and do social events so they can get to know each other. I think that's really valuable. But we did do a town hall. We are due for another one.
Yeah, we do an annual get together. We used to do an annual meeting, like to talk about the next year's goals as a group. That gets harder, or that got harder before this all happened, to meet in person and trying to coordinate everybody's schedule, and coming in from different places makes it a little more tricky.
Fine with mine. They're quite different in what they're doing. And I mean, maybe I'm wrong, and that would be great for me to have everybody on a Zoom. I might try that and let you know how it goes. But they're all on such different paths. You don't know that they'd be interested, but maybe I'm wrong.
I think they would be.
Yeah. Okay, good. I'm going to try for it. What are some goals of photographers we work with? What are some of our goals for the photographers we work with? I'd say for them to test, always moving forward, trying new things like motion, forward thinking.
Yeah. I always say being proactive, or I know a lot of people say this, but being proactive versus reactive, because most of the time you can a client, of course, needs to see that you can handle the type of work that they do. But if you're giving them something they've already done, they're looking for the next thing too. So like you said, staying creative and being proactive about your own work and your own career versus saying, well, that catalog shoots this or that client shoots this, so I'm going to go shoot that too. You have to give them a different perspective, or try something different.
Yeah,
they're already doing that.
Like the client, so the client wants to see that too.
Yeah,
of course.
My ex-boss told me that, taught me everything I know.
That's great. Okay.
Keep coming.
Okay, Patrick asks, last year was my first year with a rep. They didn't book any paying jobs versus 6 figures that I booked myself. Time for a new rep? Ooh.
It's certainly worth a deep conversation for sure. You have to figure out what kind of groundwork, if any, they've been laying for you. And if nothing's come of it, it just.
Right. Like how did you get those 6 figure? Are you sure those just came from you and didn't
exactly
the outreach
any effort
did in a different way?
Yeah, because we're the support staff.
Right.
We're helping you get your website right. We're making sure you test. What are you testing?
Right.
Yeah. I think it is important. It is hard to quantify sometimes the efforts we make, because we can send out promo after promo and it could take sometimes a year or 2 years to get someone to even respond. So it's really, really hard to figure out where work has come from. It truly is. I've had this conversation many times with many artists, and I feel like it is a joint effort.
I also feel like even if Patrick, if you're getting all your work yourself, does your rep help negotiate and get you more money?
That's a good question.
Yeah. How does the rep participate in that work?
Yeah. Because I feel like we could get someone a lot more money than they could get themselves, even if they are getting some of the work in. Yeah. Just because then we're saying photographers who are good at their own socializing and branding and marketing, they don't need reps. Well,
yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But you're supposed to be good at all those things.
That's right. We need that from you too.
So Patrick just
Go on, Patrick.
slight update. We have parted ways, and yes, all the jobs came through me directly. No hard feelings on either side, though. So there's
That's
your
good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Patrick. That was like a
Yeah.
little story we just.
Good update.
I know. And I love to hear that too when people part amicably. There's no reason not to. You know, I value and cherish every person that I have ever repped. I think they're talented and I love them as people. So I think there's no reason not to part amicably when it's time.
Absolutely. What do we do for photographers? What do we offer them? I see some not really wanting a rep as they are doing fine on their own these days. They don't want to pay someone else for their house accounts. So what do we offer them? I was just saying before about, you know, it could be as simple as change your logo.
Right.
Get your email to be your name at your website. What are you testing?
Well, I always liken it to, you know, people who are willing to pay a consultant for certain things, but not their rep. You know, it's true that if you come to the table with house accounts, it's tough to part with some of those funds. I would say minimally you should negotiate. I don't know. That's definitely a conversation between you and your rep, but I feel that as we covered earlier, there's so much we do for free for so long before any work comes in the door that not parting with some of those house accounts just means we're working for free.
Yeah. And I also see it as, I don't know about you guys, but I charge a 25% commission on fees, and that's based on 100% of their time. So if they're only available for non-house accounts 80% of the time,
Mm-hmm.
does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
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 If I don't have their time,
No, absolutely.
limiting.
And I don't know, I think we have their back. Like, we're in their court, we're their support system.
Yeah.
We're their
Yeah.
therapist. We're their,
Mhm.
you know, we manage their calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes we're
We're their
doing
therapist.
sometimes we're doing treatments.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something that's a high value item too. I think anybody who's coaching you through, you know, your first treatment it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Clients are wanting those almost every time now, and getting that right and proofreading that and editing that
Yeah.
is time consuming.
It's a lot, yeah, that's for sure.
When, let's see, some reps charge monthly fees. Can we discuss that? What do you guys think about monthly fees? Because some do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, we have something nominal, and it's mainly because we try to boost our social media posts and do some, you know, advertising, but mostly it's whatever comes in is going out. There's a purpose for it. There's nothing it's not just a fee just to sit on our website. You know, speaking of, we're in the throes of a new website that I keep threatening to share with you guys one of these days. I promise it's soon. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff we're doing on the marketing end through social media and all that stuff. You know, paying someone to even manage that is a
Yeah.
cost.
It is a cost. I have a question. Sometimes, and I love your guys' opinion, I work really hard at certain photographers, and if it feels like I'm swimming upstream and the work is not coming in, I'm getting their work out there. I'm showing it to people. Is there something else I could be doing? I often think then it's the portfolio. What do
You think it's the work? Yeah. I mean, if you're getting new work from the artist, yeah, I don't know. Because if you're getting in front of the right people, it might be getting one-to-one feedback from a client that you really work with all the time and being like, look, I've shown you this book a few times. It's not making any headway. Is there anything that you're seeing that needs improvement here? Is there what's not attractive about this work to you?
Let's say we can't talk to the client. So I'm thinking of photographers who aren't repped and they're showing their work and they're not getting work. What can we say? I have to say, go see a consultant. It's got to be your portfolio. If you're getting it to the right people,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not turning into work.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, maybe evaluate the production value that's in the book, because sometimes you see really beautiful books that you can tell someone is refining their style, but they haven't really been fully produced. Like, it's lacking production value. And I think that sometimes you can't pinpoint exactly what that is, but you can tell.
Like the talent doesn't look like professional, the styling.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are other requirements for marketing? Printed portfolios, printed leave behinds. How often should they test? Do you make that a requirement? Do you create their printed pieces, or do they create their printed pieces, or do you or they? Are they also sending email promos, or just we sending the email promos? A lot of questions in that.
Gotta be both. I think that we are trying to send out our branded agency stuff, because if you think about it, for a client, the appeal is, you know, if you have thousands of photographers coming at you versus, you know, maybe hundreds, 50s of reps, you're getting a lot more work in front of you from a rep.
Yeah.
You know,
one shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I know that was a big question. What else is in there? Oh yeah. So I was saying, I think both, because your agency is probably going to do something more agency branded, and then you want to do something more singularly branded. And I think, you know, you don't want 20, if we're emailing for multiple artists, you know, somebody doesn't want 30 emails from us.
Right.
Right.
For different artists. So I think
requirements. Do you have requirements? Like, you have to test, we need this many printed promo pieces, you got to go into this resource book.
we don't for resource books. We're in Found, but we, you know, there's no requirement. We encourage everybody to advertise wherever they can. You know, if you can do it, do it. If your name is out there in multiple places, it can only help. We try to get everyone to do something quarterly. It's not always possible, but I would say minimally you want to do something impactful if you're gonna do a printed piece. Right now, I don't know that any of us know where to send that stuff, because everyone is remote. But
I do think some reps require certain, like, they have to do it this way.
Yeah.
Have to go onto this pay for this resource website.
We suggest them to be, we're on Found. We've in the past done workbook online. I send them everything. I suggest them all be members of the APA. I suggest them to, you know, portfolio reviews, all of that stuff. I agree with Mary. I think the more places they can be, you know, that's all the better. If that's
right. And it really depends on what type of photographer. Like Toby, my product shooter and alcohol kind of bottles, he's on Ad Edge. It really depends what kind of photographer you are.
I agree. I agree with that.
We have to, oh my God, we have like 1 minute. Okay, I'm gonna just just some questions quickly. Do you have requirements for number of house accounts? No. Okay, we don't have house accounts requirements, right? Do you need to see financials?
No.
Okay.
What about a severance package? Do you guys have a severance package at the end of your contract?
Yes, good question here.
Yeah.
How long is it? 6 months, a year?
6 months for me.
6 months.
6 months.
Yeah, for me, it depends on the length of the relationship. Minimally, it's 3, but it's 6.
Okay.
For a longer relationship.
Some other Andrea asks, what are the benefits and challenges with the different contexts between reps and photographers? Oh, that's a big question. Benefits and challenges with different contracts.
Contracts,
Sorry,
okay.
I said contacts. Okay, I was gonna say we should skip that question and.
Okay.
Andrea, you can email us and we'll answer you.
Yeah.
We just don't have time. I'm trying to talk quickly. How often should a rep be submitting you for jobs? As often as possible?
Yeah, as often as possible. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, as much as you can.
Okay. Do you recommend, okay, I asked you that. Any other aspects of our relationships with photographers we can share? I really like when photographers are in touch a lot. We said that, communication.
Yeah.
when they have ideas and we get to talk about what they're going to test and what's coming up, what they should be doing, who they should be in touch with, that feeds me. Like, I want that kind of energy. It gets me more hyped up,
Right.
which is what I want from the rep.
Yeah.
More energized. What
same.
What energizes you guys with your photographers?
I think it's the same. I like to talk to some of my photographers, when we're talking at minimal once a month, probably more like once a week. And I think we do a lot of brainstorming together. That's what kind of keeps me motivated. I like when they send me, like, hey, have you heard of this new client? Have you seen this?
Too.
I love that.
That's really helpful.
No, I'm the same. I'm absolutely the same. And I think it's important too that because we are so busy and so sales focused and constantly looking for new clients and doing outreach, if you don't hear from us, don't spin out. Like, just reach out, because sometimes it's, I haven't heard from her. And, there are 8 million things we are juggling at any given moment, every single day. And it's never a matter of, I don't want to talk to you. I would love to talk to my artists every single day if I could, but you want me focused outward. You want me calling clients and creating things to send out. So
I'm going to jump to myths, our last one we got to, and stay tuned later for a wrap up. If you want to stay on here, Hugh and I are going to wrap up, talk about these two. So, and we're going to ask you about usage rates. So 1 second for that. Myths about reps. What do you think is like some of the biggest rep myths? I think we all are going to have the same one.
I think for me, the biggest myth is if I'm repped, I'm going to have work right away.
I was going to say that.
Yeah. And I think we're all going to say that. That just ton of work just comes plowing through the door. It takes a long time. And I think someone even asked, how long does it take? And it really depends. I mean, you can lay the groundwork for the better part of a year, and you're talking about people's cycles who, they're reviewing work at the beginning of the year and they're shooting that summer. So now you're looking at 1.5 years, could be 2. It just takes time to get all of that marketing rolled out and responded to and follow up.
I think that myth also can really motivate photographers who aren't repped. You can be doing some of this without us to get yourself to a position where you'll need a rep, or a rep will be like, oh, they're ready for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I can actually speak to that point about, I've had 3 agents in my life and my career, and this latest one is, it's taken us a little bit of time to revamp and get interest. So, she says it's just going to take time. And, I've been around a long time, but it's still, and so it goes to your point. It's just going to take time, no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, look at how much is out there without being repped. I mean, it's a lot. It takes a lot to get you up and running on a site and get the word out to however many people are on our list of who we're talking to every day. Yeah. For sure.
Okay, usage rates. Let's give some information out to our wonderful attendees. What's like a range of a day rate? And do you always do usage and shots? Are they separated, or do you do a day rate?
I think it really depends on the client. Some people don't like to see it, partitioned out. And some people are like, I just want it all in one fee. I can't sell it to the client otherwise. So I think it really depends. We just communicate with the client about how they'd like to see it. I like to do it whether at least at some point, I like to show them what it costs per shot if we agree to this fee, so that they can see the deal that they're getting.
Tracy, what about you? Day rate or usage?
The same. It all depends on the client and the shot and what we're shooting and what the usage is. I think that for the majority of what we work on, people like to have it all wrapped up into one.
Right.
Yeah.
And Mary, I do call it out. Sometimes I do, like Mary said, I do sometimes call it out to say, like, this is what percentage went to usage.
So they understand.
Yeah.
Do you have a standard if they want 1 year unlimited usage? Do you have like kind of a standard day rate for that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that
range of maybe a range.
I think there's a range because I feel like over the years things have definitely crunched, and a lot of people want all rights, and I think that's a product of people coming up in the industry who aren't seasoned in usage. And you know, I don't want to say like younger art producers or anything like that, because art producers are to me such a valuable team player in these agencies, and when they get laid off, it really bums me out when suddenly there's a squashed team of account people who might not understand,
And
you
then
know,
we
what
have
the
to
usage.
educate.
Yeah, so there's a lot of that, but for sure, you know, art producers are allies. They're amazing.
How do we explain our usage? How do we come up with our fees? Because there's no, you know, set scale for this.
No, there isn't. And I think that's, you know, from what I hear out in the world, that's what keeps the competition healthy and all of that. However, we don't want anybody out there undercutting each other, because we do have to keep our industry healthy. And certainly now, I know that people are struggling budget-wise, but this is not a time to be cutting rates. It's really not.
Right.
Because we set a really bad precedent. We already have, you know, people doing things from home with a slimmer team, and our goal would be to make sure people understand it's a special circumstance that under which we accept these new things, but it can't be.
No, it can't hurt our business.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, we don't want it to. How, like, let's give a range.
For a day rate or
What's
for
normal fees right now? I'll start because this is a question I try to get and most people won't answer, but I feel like you two are going to answer me. And Hugh, maybe you too. Ooh. Hugh, you want to start?
I want your answers.
Okay.
I want to know.
If it's something that's great for their book and they want to shoot, I have seen photographers start at 2,500 and it goes normally at the higher rates right now, 8,500, 10,000, 12, maybe.
Day rate.
Day rate, including usage.
including usage?
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right, who's next?
Yeah. I mean, I'd say the same. I mean, I feel like that lower end for me is more social media, web use, and then getting closer to the other is, like you said, a year unlimited. Then you're dealing with national versus worldwide.
Right.
So there's all kinds of factors in figuring out what this usage fee is.
Well, how high does it get for you then, Mary?
I mean, we've gone anywhere from 10 to 25,000.
Recently?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I found 25 to be more years ago.
Oh no, I've gone as high as 25 in the last year.
For a day. That's awesome.
Yeah.
There's a question around this, if I can ask it. It's if the usage is rolled into a day rate, how do you determine the reuse licensing charge later on? Ladies.
That's a good question. I feel like it's got to be somewhat rooted in the day rate you had in the first place. But yeah, that's a good question. I think we'd have to see, you know, is that usage more extensive? Is it the exact same as it was, like literally a renewal?
And how many shots did you shoot in the day? That you can kind of divide
yeah,
to see per shot.
Yeah, and I think with those bigger, you know, with that bigger number day rate, that's, for me at least, that's leaning towards unlimited. You know, that's an unlimited time frame at that point. So
yeah,
there's no reuse.
True. But reuse, I find kind of fun. Either the client will break it out and make us put it on the estimate before the job, which I think is a good idea for them, or we get more control after if they need it. I just did some reuse for a photographer who I don't rep, but I'm trying to speak without saying too much information. And I worked with him and I figured out how much the client would pay, which was not near, they paid a lot less for the day rate for a lot of images. And I got them to pay for a certain amount of images a lot more because right now they need them really badly.
Right.
they have to use reuse on renewals on a lot of images. They can't shoot most people right now.
Yeah.
Okay, we did it, guys. We did it. I'm going to ask a personal question, although we got to go and then we got to wrap up. Got to do this quickly. Do you think any of this time of not shooting as much will help you and your company in some ways?
I mean, I think it's tough for all of us, but yeah, I mean, I think it definitely gives time for reflection and, you know, perspective, what's important to you, what you value, how you want to work. You know, I feel like me and my internal team are talking more and more about how we want to work in the future, and, you know, just the artist relationships we want to have. We feel fortunate because we love everyone that we rep right now. Just everyone is fantastic.
Like a family.
It is. I really feel that way. And it's become more valuable to me over the years to work that way.
Yeah. Hugh, how about you?
Well, I think it's just a matter of, you know, thinking outside the box again. I mean, this is really, for me, it's been, you know, I've had this creative flow going on right now. It's been really enjoyable, uninterrupted. You know, I'm still out, you know, sending promos and doing those things, but I'm really spending a lot of time on my personal projects right now, and it's been super fun. And the response has been great. So,
Tracy?
Yeah, I think for us, I think for me personally, it's made me realize that it's okay to kind of slow down a little bit, like not be in this rat race all the time.
Yeah.
And kind of given that human element to our communication with clients that maybe we didn't always have in the past. It's a lot easier, you know, I found it a lot easier actually right now to reach out to people.
Me too.
Than I have in the past and get response.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same. I think for me, it's really filled my tank in a way that I wasn't aware wasn't so full. I was so busy, you know, and I did things like fit in my yoga class and things like that are so important to me. And now I'm not. It's making me feel more motivated and more fueled up and realizing how to fuel myself up. Like I need a little slowdown. I need to pick up a book when I'm eating my lunch. It's so simple.
Yeah, it's true. There's a lot of busyness in our career. You know, I always say to the artists when they're like, well, I'm not working. I'm like, yes, you are. You are working every single day. We are working every day, but slowing down has definitely helped, you know, the perspective a little bit.
Oh, okay. We are out of time. Thank you, Mary, Tracy, Hugh. Thank you for doing this. Everyone stick around for a quick wrap up. I know, Hugh, we're going to have 10 minutes together. 5, 10, 5. I look forward to seeing everybody again soon. So thank you. And we're going to keep recording. Oh, Hugh, you want to say something?
I just want to say thank you, ladies, so much, all of you. So great. And this was packed full with information. So
Oh, good.
I really appreciate it.
And we thank Sammy's for sponsoring it.
That's right, for sponsoring us, and APALA, and join APA.
Join APA.
We're here to advocate for you. We're here to support you. And this is the type of stuff that we can deliver for you guys. And there's more and more coming. So,
and you're not alone. I think for photographers, you're not alone.
No.
Okay.
Right. Yeah,
are you
absolutely.
guys signing off so we can wrap up and talk about you behind your back?
What? Yeah, actually, the one other thing I wanted to say when you were talking earlier about shooting, one of my artists came up with the most fun way of looking at work. She said it's the 3 F's: funds, fun, or future. And she said if it's got the funds, of course, you want to do the job. If it's fun, you might be more encouraged to do the job. And she said, but if it's something that will help you in the future, like it's work that will help you get more work. So those are her 3 F's for taking work and doing jobs. I love it.
I love it.
Good
That's
one.
good. Awesome.
That's Edie's. I'll give her a shout out.
All right.
Thank you, Tracy and Mary.
Thank you, guys.
We're going to talk about you.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll see you tomorrow on our Zoom,
Yes.
our support group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Bye.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
So, Hugh, what did you learn?
Wow. I just
Yeah.
think, I think, I think the biggest thing that I learned is it's great to hear them talk about the subtleties of approaching a rep. And that's
Yeah.
just confirmed it, really. I've always felt that way, but now hearing it from you guys, it's just,
Yeah. I
you don't.
know reps are so intimidating to some people. I used to go into these schools like Santa Monica College, and I feel like, hey, I'm just a person. Why is this there like this uptightness going on? Just I'm a person, you know?
Yeah, if you love your work, if you really are passionate about it, just let that drive you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I get that. I get that idea of being intimidated by agents,
Hmm.
but I understand it, but I haven't really experienced that myself. But
Yeah. Do you talk to a lot of photographers about this? Like, do they ask you, should I get repped?
um, yes, yes, and no. Students mostly. Students
Uh-huh.
mostly. And wanted to make this point is that there's a couple things. One is you need to really learn what an agent does, and that's by doing it personally and through your own experience. And that is from not only promotion, but actually estimating a job, doing the treatment on your own, and then invoicing it and doing all that post stuff.
Yeah.
But also, I forgot my
The
point.
marketing part.
The marketing part, yeah, is very, very important, super important. And also, there was an adage that I've heard for years is that if you're so busy that you cannot do everything, then it's time to get a rep.
You've heard that?
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I heard that as an adage before.
Huh.
But I feel like if you've got something that is a different voice, it's a different type of work, if it's something that is going to that's going to break barriers, go for it.
Yeah.
I've seen some young photographers straight out of the box get an agent and they just take off.
Right.
So
There's no answer to that. I think I learned that too from hearing from them. There's kind of no answer on a lot of these questions.
that's true. It's very individual.
Yeah, very individual.
And that's why, taking your time and interviewing, you need to interview the agent too.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
Yeah, it's about personality. And do your research and talk to their photographers too.
And talk to your clients. I love that because if there's a client you really want and you talk to them and they're like, well, I don't really like that rep. Oh my God, you just saved a lot of money, a lot of time.
Yeah.
Because if one client's not going to like a rep for any reason, I don't need to talk badly about reps, but listen to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Really do your research.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're all different. Like I'm very personal and I love to connect and I love people. That's not for everybody. I once went to lunch with a photographer and he had a larger rep company than me. And he said, I don't want to talk to my rep. They do their thing. I do my thing. Those are not the kind of photographers I should be repping. But,
No.
Everyone's different.
No, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, you got to go?
I do. I've got a doctor's
All right.
appointment. I'm sorry.
Damn, everyone. We'll wrap up again sometime.
Okay, good. Well, thank you, Andrew, so much. Okay.
Yes.
I'll see you when?
I don't know.
Maybe?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay. All
We'll
right.
figure something out.
Okay.
Okay.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.